So here we are at the end of our driveway at a haskap plant, a honeyberry plant. This is on our, let's say this is really our zone 5. This is the entrance to our property. We walk past here a lot, but this is so far away that we don't get down to it often. So this haskap, I think, is 5 years old this year, and you can see its base really well established. We had a big pile of moss around it to keep moisture in. Right now, I'm going to take this big pile of earth and I'm going to pile it up around the base of this. And I'll come back from this angle in just a second. You can see the finished job. All right, and that's the first stage. That's my empty bucket over there. And that's my full pile on top of this haskap. It's just coarsely piled up. I haven't done anything to shape it, but specifically, I'm going to shape it around each and every one of these little twigs. They're all 1 or 2 years old. And each of these little twigs are going to come out. They're going to be a whole new bush somewhere else at the end of the season when we do our fall transplants, or next spring when we come back and start doing new transplants. So I'm going to come back and shape this just so you can see what I do. I'll get in close one more second. And here we are on the other side of the plant. Let's get this grass out of the way. What we've done here, this is an interesting little adaptation. So what I've done is I've taken some soil and I've packed it around this one stem. It was rather high up. This one actually goes, so this stem here, it actually traces all the way down to this one. So I'm hoping to be able to cut it, but it's so high up here. I just stacked up the earth. So this isn't going to harm the plant. It's just going to cause it to put root shoots on all of the nodes that are buried. And then when I cut it back, not cut it back, pull back the soil to get those out, I'll be able to cut away a significant number of the smaller shoots without damaging the larger plant. The larger plant will stay established in this spot, and the smaller shoots will go out and colonize other spots. Now you can see this plant right over here, also honeyberry, also haskap, growing in basically the same spot, just a little bit further uphill. It actually gets technically more sunlight, because you can see this one's actually growing in shade right now because of this tree just to the south of it. But this one right here, though it gets more sunlight, it just isn't thriving quite as well as this one has, both the same age. But it's good to have the two plants right here for cross-pollination, so they definitely put on a lot of fruit. We tend to stop and pick these as we're coming up our driveway. Now, 2 last things to show you. First is, I got this spacer here. So I just made this, I just notched out the top, notched out the bottom with my pocket knife, and that's coming around here. I've got this one segment right here, which I need to take out of here. You see it's all tangled up. I don't want it to do that. So I just take my spacer and I put it on here. I put it on here, and that just basically trains them apart. So now this branch comes down here, will grow up and thrive, and everything else will, hopefully it'll adapt to that shape and it won't get in the way in the future. And then the last thing to show you, I've got a couple of cuttings that I took off today while trimming up the haskap. Some of the 1-year-old wood that looked very, very thriving I took and I planted here. That's just a step in. I did a hole in the ground, placed my chute right inside of that hole, stepped on it with my foot to close the chute, and then put some earth from my pail right on top of that, both as a indication of where that specific plant is, because as you can see it's pretty grassy around here, but also as a mulch and a moisture accumulator, and just some really good biomaterial, some biomass to help that plant hopefully succeed and thrive. Standing in the same spot, this is our end of the driveway garden where we've transplanted out the beginnings of a food forest. There, as you can see, there's the haskap that I just mounded up. Here's the haskap in front, which I haven't mounded, but I'm going to plan to come back with a bucket as soon as I can. Then I've got the other little haskap right here and the other little haskap right there, and all these guys are all ready to go. Hopefully we'll have a new haskap grove in here, and we'll have some raspberries on the back edge. They're thriving and doing well. Their roots are already trailing up this way into the better soil, getting away from the wetland over here. Well, that's my whistle. Sounds like I gotta go. And here we are, not 2 days later, and they're already starting to blossom. Those yellow buds, beautiful berry flowers just starting out. That's wonderful. That's so gratifying. Just notice them as I'm coming back up the driveway. And we're back to the haskaps in the food forest. So as you can see, these ones are just starting to blossom as well, but you can also probably see from the dark skies and the snow falling directly behind me right now that we've come into a bit of a cold snap, which means we're going to have the chance to take all of the footage and all of the things that we've already done this spring. We'll be able to edit them and bring them to you. Well, we're looking forward to doing that. We do hope you're also looking forward to it, and that you'll come back and watch us. We also hope that you'll like and subscribe. Got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, including some air layering of some hazelnuts I've got back here, a lot of cobbing, a lot of home sculpting, a lot of other things. We got a lot coming on. We really hope that you're looking forward to it like we are. So thanks for stopping by. We hope you have a berry fruitful spring, and we'll do what we can to help you make it so.